So I work at Amazon. I'm actually part of the Ops Tech IT team, which is just like operations IT. Aside from that, I just pretty much game. I'm at home with my fiance and 4 cats, and taking care of our newborn son.
We are here today for the Corporate Esports Association Overwatch 2020 Spring Playoffs. It is going to be a spectacular day.
After most of it only does get one as the Blizzard comes out on the backside. T also going to find the Deadeye onto Specs on the high ground. Google has to press on the pedal to try and touch this point. And they're not! Oh, it comes up short. Amazon Fire Force will be able to take Volskaya Industries.
CEA to me is like an organization that pulls together a lot of these like top companies around the world. I think it's like a great team building function, and then also it's for a great cause. It's for charity.
And since two members showed up in the top lane, they're immediately going to go for the dive in the mid lane with the damage on the Pandoria. Going to be able to pick up the kill. Twice over for Apocalypse. Everyone else is going to be running for the hills. Nobody wants to be able to join in this fight. With the minions there, the Baron's still on everybody. This is going to be the grand finals for Team Amazon Stock Dip. They've got the money, $5,000 for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. They have secured it for themselves with a 3-0 victory.
Yeah, so like losing to Adobe was like pretty heartbreaking. I got like the second place trophy in the mail. I'll see it like every day. I'm like, it's like a reminder, like you have to do better. You always have to like somebody out there is better than you. Like you should always try to be the best. But like we're definitely gonna come back way stronger, way better. We don't want to drop another game during the season. We definitely don't want to lose in grand finals.
Adobe Illustrator taking this next map.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second part of our broadcast for the day. It is the Corporate Esports Association Collegiate Division. We have UCD, University of California, Davis, versus the Rochester Institute of Technology, otherwise known as Running Into Trees. Two of the teams sitting at the top of the challenger bracket, much like what we saw in the last series that we just saw in the corporate division of the Corporate Esports Association. Both of these teams doing what they can to try to ensure a number 5 seed. There are only 4 teams in the placement bracket this time instead of the 6 that are in the corporate division, just because of the number of teams that exist. Both teams have done very well. UCD really only losing to the 2 top teams that exist in the collegiate division. UCSD, home to Vindicta, and University of Chicago, the team that managed to take down UCSD right at the end of the Swiss bracket. Now, RIT, they've taken a little bit more of tumultuous of a route. They've lost to Beantown, which Northwestern. They've lost to Akron, as I've been told is as I've been mispronouncing all week. But that being the case, there's both sitting here 2-0. In the challenger bracket thus far, both trying to vie to ensure that they both have a position in the playoffs and the best possible seeding in the playoffs. So, as we get on ready to go here, we're gonna have hopefully a good, excellent match, a lot of parity, and at this point we should talk about a couple things. First and foremost, this is the collegiate division, and the division is built in such a way as to ensure. Oh, that is probably the wrong server. We'll redo that. Is built in such a way as to ensure that teams can play with a team of 3. So there are 2 1v1s. Then there are 2 2v2s, and a player cannot just play in more than one 1v1 unless they're the ace, or more than 2 2v2s, and you can play in more than 2 2v2s, but then you can't ace. So, anyways, that being the case, I'm gonna give them the lobby link. That being the case, we see some pretty cool stuff. We see some interesting play. We see some teams that really focus on being good at 2v2. Players that don't. some teams that don't. All right. So, okay. We have our players already here. We're going to get ready to go on into game number 1 rather quickly. Game number 1, of course, LightShade. There is no map swap. Actually, we should probably talk about that for a minute for anyone who is new. So, the Corporate Esports Association has a... I did not mean to tab that far. All right, so we're sitting here getting ready. The Corporate Esports Association has a pretty cool match format. So there are 5 maps, or there are 5 maps set up every week. But the first 4 maps, there were 2 opportunities. So in this case, the default map is Lightshade. The backup map is 2000 Atmospheres, which is a map that no one plays on very much. Sorry, just trying to get all of this set up. But anyway, so yeah, each team has one map swap allocated to them. Actually, we already know that AJC, playing for RIT, the captain of RIT has already elected to swap map number 4. So we're gonna see that a bit. Of course, that is a 2v2 map, and as far as I am aware, there are no 1v1 swaps as of yet. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that all turns out here, as we're just about ready to get on into map number 1. It will be on Lightshade. It's gonna be a PvP, and that's gonna be pretty fun. As again, these are the matchup is released on Monday or Tuesday. These players have just about all week to get ready to prepare, to do all that, to make sure that they know what's happening, to make sure that they are ready and they have some really cool custom builds. But without further ado, our players, they're loaded on into game number 1. Let's get into it. And here we are, spawning in the bottom right, in the purple, representing the University of California, Davis. Tiki. Yeah, their acting captain for the day, actually. And his opponent in the upper left. In the blue, representing Running Into Trees, Rochester Institute of Technology, it's AJC. All right, so I don't think we're going to see anything too crazy too early, as we see no gas getting taken here too early. Nothing like gas before a pylon or gas before gate, which I don't even know if a build that does that, to be totally honest. But anyway, looks like we're just going to have double gate openers from both of our players here. And yeah, they're just going to be absolutely mirrored. Although, Tiki's just going to go down. She's like, you're not proxying me, are you? There's no gate forge shenanigans coming down. Nope, okay. Time to complete my wall off, and we go from there. So both players are going with probe scouts out just about early, and again, we're not going to see anything new, nothing crazy. In the words of the Romans, nil novi sub soli. Now the probes are going to get on in here. Try to see what they can see. They're really not going to see a whole lot because, well, I mean, they're going to see that the builds are mirrored. And I'm not sure whether that is a comfort or a curse to the 2 players here. And now, interestingly, we should note that pylons are going to be in the base of both of these players. which of course provides a little bit more room to build structures inside the main base. But on the flip side, what this means is, well, there's nothing you really have to be afraid of. Both pylons in the main base, which means that, well, there's no pylon outside of the main base. There's no proxy, no void rays, no DTs, nothing like that. Which, well, it just protects you just a little. Means that you can be comfortable saying, yes, I'm going to take this natural. And Tiki actually, he is going to wall the probe off into his main base. Generally, with this pylon there, generally you see AJC doing this. It's like, I'm going to put my pylon in the high ground and the low ground. I just want to see what units you're building. But instead, he's going to sacrifice a probe, which is a worse trade. It costs 25 minerals to have a pylon that cancel it, and it costs 50 minerals, or arguably even more so to lose a probe, because then you have to rebuild it as well. So now we're gonna have the Stalkers. They're gonna show up. A nice micro here from Tiki from AJC. They're gonna do what they can. Just dance a little, do a little song, do a little dance, get down tonight, or something like that. So they're gonna go out on their way, and the game is underway here, and we do see our first deviation of the day. Tiki says, you know what? I think my micro is pretty good, most likely. This looks like a Blink Stalker opener, or a Blink Stalker transition, although we don't see a forge. Generally, when you see Blink, or when you see Twilight Council going like this for Blink, you get a +1 on top of it, and because your army by itself, it's more mobile, it can take better fights if you have good micro, but it's not necessarily, oh, man, this pylon's gonna get caught immediately. And when we talk about being able to counter people, being able to prepare for things, that is exactly what we talk about. So anyway, we do have a Blink. It's gonna go down, getting chronoed, but there's no forge on the way. So the dichotomy here is, if you go Robo, you're a little more defensive, a little more static, but your army is arguably more powerful with all the immortals. On the flip side, Blink can go all over the place, can pick up pylons. If your micro is that much better, you can deal with that. And in general, right, that's the case. But you do see a lot of players go for +1 with Blink, and what this means is they're able to take the fights just a little bit better. As well, they do have they got +1, so their army just trades that little bit better, which really accounts for the disadvantage they have from fighting a bunch of mortals. Now these Adepts will get on in here, and with the lack of a wall, they should get a couple workers. They're going to get, what, 4 probably? Actually, no, they're going to get more than that, 5 or even 6 before they do go down. 6 workers go down. There we go. Okay. 6 workers for 2 Adepts. That is absolutely the type of trade that you're looking to make here. And, well, we do have the Forge coming down now, but it's going to be a rather late +1 compared to our blue player, but he did just lose 6 workers, so there is absolutely a tempo disadvantage going on here. Blink just about to complete, though. There is something, but this is a defensive. This looks like it's going to be a defensive Blink more than anything else. We do have a third base, or we do have a pylon going down at the third base location. The probe is still there, so I was a betting man, and I'm not. But if I was, I'd say we have a third base coming down sooner rather than later. AJC probably the same, as we do see him. Actually, no, I guess that bank is more for just field warp and stuff. Anyway, this Adept will not get nearly as much. Great job there with the Hallucinated Phoenix. He's able to draw 1 shot. But I still don't believe that Adept got anything whatsoever. Now we're going up to 4 gates here. And this probe's been out there for just about a minute now. But now our blinking friends are going to try to move out on the map. The +1 is done for AGC. It is not for Tiki. This is not a fight that Tiki wants to take in the slightest. There are a couple of immortals. There is a +1 done. Actually, okay, they're based on the way I was going to say. 5 more gates just about done here for AGC. So he's going to have everything he needs to make sure that he has more than enough to be aggressive, to be defensive, to really do whatever he wants. And we do see the production of Tiki lagging behind just a little. Sure, he's got 4 gates, but, well, 4 gates to 7. I mean, there's absolutely production advantage there, but yeah, Tiki, he's just going into disruptive play behind this, and we are seeing this dichotomy in play, right? On the one hand, You have this player going Blink Stalker Disruptor, and on the other hand, well, it's Charge Lot Immortal Archon. And this is really this game is really going to come down to execution more than anything else. Blink Stalker Disruptor can do tremendous damage, can do tremendous work, can trade well against just about everything, assuming you control it properly. But the same can be said. Well, let me say that the less is true of Charge Lot Archon. That's just much more of an A move composition. It tests more of your macro and your startup fight positioning than it does anything else. That's not going to say this cannot work, because now we do have the Stalkers. They will find a... Ooh, they will not... They were going to find a Stalker, but they failed to do so. They do, however, bleed a Force Field, and that's always going to be rather nice. We do have a bunch of Disruptors on the way here, too, and it looks like AJC wants to do the same thing. Blink now on the way, +2 on the way. And we should start seeing Disruptors for AJC as well here. And one thing we should mention is with how much faster the third base is and how much damage that AJC took early. Yeah, he's sitting here with a rather significant worker lead. Rather significantly, or I should just, yeah, rather significant lead here. And he's going to get a couple more as he blinks in and blinks out. Is doing really a good job of making use of this tremendous mobility he has found for himself in this game. There we have it. Charge on the way for Tiki as well. So our techs are mostly matched. It's just we're going to see Archons for AGC, and we're not going to see Archons for Tiki for the most part. But again, Archon's not all that useful when you're talking about Disruptor play. So not really something he's really going to miss out on. Of course, you want Charge, you want a Dark Templar for run-bys, and you just want this big bulk of Stalkers, of Disruptors here. And once again, Tiki, he's found his opponent out of position. He's going to get that pylon, move on in, and then just back on out. Blink is now done for AJC as well, but yeah, that's not a blink he wants to really blink on into. How many Disruptors do we have on the map? 3 Disruptors for Tiki. 1 for our blue Protoss player. So Tiki for the moment is going to have this rather nice Disruptor lead for the moment, but we just have Stalkers moving across the map at this point. Where our Disruptors are just staying at home, as Tiki doesn't really show a desire to make use of them for the moment. Great micro here, just doing what he can to go in, go out, and just pick off everything. So these Stalkers are going to have to blink out of the way. They do not do so. So three Stalkers trade down. And there we go. The trick is, of course, is HSE. He has his third base later. He's fully mining from it later. But now he does have a rather significant army lead. Great job targeting down that Immortal before anything else. And of course, the Zell is there, but there is no charge. Frugs did not win. Abingdon Schoolboy. Frugs was Frugs was the 4th player for the Corporate Esports Association Corporate Division. He lost to Alif Not, so Shopify won 3-1 over Facebook. But now we're in the Collegiate Division. This is the University of California, Davis versus, nice Zealot run by, not even really a warp in the main, in the natural. Bunch of workers, tons and tons of workers going down here. In the main, in the natural, 14 workers do go down, and this is something that AJC absolutely has to deal with. 18, he went from having a massive economic lead to really not having much of one at all. But this Disruptor shot is just going to take out a lot of Stalkers. You have to be paying attention to where your Stalkers are, to what they're doing, if you're going to do this. And then we have a War Prism going to find its way on the main base. Once again, 21 workers go down, and this is not the type of game that AJC is looking for here. But on the flip side, his army is up 30 total supply, and he has a terrifying one. So it's really, he now has the opportunity to maybe get something done here. Now the Disruptors, they need to be in position. They're not. One Disruptor will go down. Second one's going to get targeted down. Third one's going to get targeted down. None of them are getting their Novas off here. And this is disastrous for Tiki. AJC, he's found his opening. Sure, he lost all of his economy, but okay, that shot is going to equalize things. That shot's going to make everything okay once again. It's going to equalize the army supply. And yeah, this looked like it was going to be too much. It looked like AJC had found the opening that he needed, but I don't believe that is the case. But that being said, he still does have all of his Disruptors, and there are only 2 on the field for Tiki in this match. Maybe a couple more Dark Templar getting warped on in here to the main base. And, well, AJC, he's not mining. We see Tiki even losing a base here is massively an economic advantage, as they're just no income in the main base. The Dark Templar is doing God's work, or Amon's work, I guess, if you want to talk about it that way. Okay, so now, yes, this Dark Templar will go down, but the Warp Prism will escape with the other, so great harass here. Coming from our positively purple Protoss player. Now we've 3-3 done for both players. AJC with a bit of a mineral bank, something that he would like to spend. And now we do have a... Where's... Oh, never mind. That's, Where are these workers dying? Yeah, there we go. Dark Templar on into the natural, once again forcing our Blue Protoss player into a position that he really does not want to be in. So he has to defend multiple locations at once while still dealing with the micro of responding to disruptors, and that's not really a great position. But now, well, AJC has maybe found his opening once again. One disruptor goes down, two disruptors go down. You gotta target it. He does. He gets it. All the disruptors are now dead, and AJC, with all his disruptors on the map, sure, he doesn't have an economy anymore, but he's got even army supply, and he arguably does have a better one. Immortals are still alive. Charge was still alive. The last Immortal does go down, and AJC absolutely has to make something of this. He's down here 20 workers, but he's got the disruptor count. He's got what he needs to be able to potentially win the fight. The one thing he's lacking, of course, is a Warp Prism, so he really does not have a great way to reinforce. Once again, he's taking economic damage. This Dark Templar just trickling in drips and drabs and just doing so much damage. Now, well, he's found his way in with charge lots with the Dark Templar. He's been able to section off some of his army immediately. Now we just have these disruptors going off. That is going to be a positive trade. Oh, that disruptor shot's gonna... Oh, actually, it's gonna whip on everything. How many disruptors do we have? How many disruptors do exist? Okay, now, 30 workers have gone down for AJC. He's not mining. Only 9 workers on the map. Now the Starcraft are gonna blink on top of this. Disruptors are going to go down. They will. Okay, so no disruptors on the map. Well, one disruptor on the map here for our 2 disruptors on the map for our blue player. The first one's not gonna hit. The second one's gonna hit massively. Now AJC, he's down on economy, but he does have disruptors, and that's all he needs. He's got a recall, but what's even the point? Stark's gonna blink on top of everything. 34 workers of AJC have gone down. But Tiki, he's still mining. Sure, he's taken some tremendous economic damage, but he's still mining. He still has an opportunity. This one Dark Templar. Is there a... Oh, that's why he had to recall. Oh. Okay, never mind. We do have observers. Now Tiki, once again, he's going to take his third base, doubling the supply of his opponent, up 20 army supply, but he's mining. That's the big deal. He's mining. His opponent is really not. Now, one thing to be said is these 12 workers can maybe mine a little bit more efficiently than Tiki, as he's 6 out of 8 here. He's kind of having a long distance mine from the third base. He's not really efficiently mining from 2 bases. But even with that, we do have the two armies passing like ghosts in the night. The entire army of AJC on the right-hand side, trying to do what it can to circumnavigate. Once again, there's a DT onto this natural. This DT may just get the base. So we have the main army of Tiki. Third base is going to go down. Natural is going to go down. AJC, he's doing what he can, but he has been outmaneuvered once again. But he will be able to jump on top of this disruptor. That is nice, but he has no recall. His opponent does. All right, so there we saw a decent recall in the main base, but some of this army of Tiki sticking around to try to get some damage done. Now, we should see some disruptor shots going on the high ground. It will not, so now only one disruptor left, and we have only one disruptor left. Does not really matter. Stalker's gonna blink down. No disruptors left for AJC. He's not mining. He's not actually, he's mining more than his opponent somehow, despite everything. But his army supply is just not there. 30 army supply to 60, and he's got some better tech. So now he's gonna try to do what he can to make an escape. Look, there's nothing on the production tab. He has no bases. I don't even know how he's mining more, to be totally honest. But there we have it. GG. He's going to take game number 1 for his team. And, well, RIT, they're going to take game number 1. And what a match. What a match indeed. All right, so we're going to get ready to go on map number 2 here. I believe it's going to be Pillars of Gold unless someone tells me otherwise. Now, as we move into our second 1v1 of the day, it's going to be Chimera versus Sean Jacobs. Chimera, of course, playing for UC Davis, looking to equalize things before they go on into the 2v2s. Sean Jacobs looking to put RIT at an incredible advantage. So that was an incredible game. Number one, fighting all over the map. We saw lots of disruptor shots go off. Players doing a really good job of forcing their opponent's attention where they didn't want it and get to make sure they get those really big disruptor shots. Looks like Sean Jacobs is playing under the moniker of Exile for this map. And we're going to get ready to go on into game number 2. We'll be on Pillars of Gold. It's going to be Chimera versus Exile. Of course, RIT with that 1-0 lead thus far. And our players, they're now loaded into game number 2. And make sure I get the names right. There we go. All right, players loaded into game number 2. Let's get into it. And here we are, spawning in the bottom left. In the purple, looking to equalize the score before the 2v2 set. In the purple for UC Davis, it's Chimera. And his opponent, the green Terran, in the upper right side of the map, looking to set it to 2-0, making it so a 2v2 wins the series. In the green, it's Exile. And I'm excited to see what our players have prepared for us in this map number 2. Now, Exile, from an MMR perspective, he's a little bit lower. Do we expect Chimera to be decent, to find himself in a little bit of an advantage here? That being said, nothing is a given here. Absolutely. And these players have known their matchups for the last 4 or 5 days. And 4 or 5 days is absolutely enough time to find your opponents, find their replays on SC2 replay stats or something like that, to go and download them, to study them, and to find a really cool counter build. And that is absolutely something that is worthwhile to do, worthwhile to take a look at. And it's kind of funny. We've seen a couple different variations of this. We've seen the version where a team has one really good player, and that player wins, but other than that, doesn't really matter, because the team is able to rally around just beating everyone that's not named Vindicta, that's not named Zero. On the flip side, though, we also see some players go and say they have this one really good player, so that player doesn't maybe prepare as much, and then they hit this massive underdog and they lose to it just because there's some crazy build that player pulled out. For example, we saw Foxy Void Ray that only built one Void Ray into a decent expand timing, into almost like a Marger, into a charge slot all in with one Immortal. And yeah, that weirdest build I've ever seen, but so cool. So cool. And again, we're talking about snipe builds. That is absolutely what this match format is for, especially when we talk about map swaps. And we do have the Reaper's going to be able to get on in here. Just going to back up. Okay. It does not want to sacrifice its life today, and I think what it would prefer to is just to get confirmation that there is a Twilight Council going down to get confirmation that this is in fact a blink opening. And of course, you know, when you're talking about a blink opening here, well, it means a couple things. Means that your opponent has, well, whether they get offensive or defensive, that's a question of the number of the gates that go down. Afterwards, right now, we're at 1 gate. It's questions whether 2 or 3, 1, 2, or 3 gates get thrown down. After this, it really defines how aggressive our players want to get. But nope, this is not even that. This could be some DT drops coming on in here. I assumed this was going to be a blink drop because that is, or this was going to be blink tech because that is what you see 9 times out of 10. But you know what? When you're playing against an opponent that you feel like you're a little bit better than maybe, and you maybe show something. I don't know whether this is a this Chimera saying, look, I've shown X builds on ladder the last week. Now I'm going to hit it with Y because that's absolutely a valid thing, or whether it's a, hey, I don't think he, I've seen his macro mechanics. He does not save enough energy for scans, or he doesn't get missile turrets, whatever the case may be. DTs in situations like this in best of ones, can always be incredibly successful. I mean, they're successful in best of threes too, and they're more of a late game power unit for the most part. But now we do have a Hellion drop coming on the way here, but this is a rather weird one. This is much slower than your standard Hellion drop would be. As well, it's because there's a 3rd base down and nothing was proxied. So this Hellion drop should hit just after the DT drop comes in, and that makes me question whether it even goes down at all. As Exile, he's going to have his hands full dealing with a bunch of Dark Templar. 3 Dark Templar wreaking havoc in his main base. And honestly, most of his army, where it's natural and the bunker there, most of his army is Hellions. And sure, Hellions can deal with that, but they're on the other side of the map, so it doesn't even matter whether most of the army is there or not. Now, of course, we have a tank on the way. And a couple of Marines, but now the Dark Templar, they will go in. 1 in the natural. There we are. 2 in the main base, and so many workers are going down here. It looks like Exile has not even noticed for the moment. Now, the Hellions have dropped, and Chimera will have to deal with that eventually. 18 workers going down. Hey, sure, he scans, but there's just nothing there. The more and more workers are going down here. Sure, 3 workers have gone down, and it looks like Exile has committed himself to maybe trying to do the same type of damage across the map. But let me tell you, 28 workers, your opponent, when you take your opponent down to 0 workers, there's, when you're taking down to 0 workers, unless you take your opponent down to 0 workers, it doesn't really matter. We're going to have a GG Chimera. He's going to take game number 2, and we're going into the 2v2s at a 1-1 tie. All right, so that's just one of those things. You get a bunch of DTs in there, and funky things happen. All right, so we have our starting to get our players in here for this first 2v2 matchup. It's gonna be, who is it gonna be? Gonna be Silver Chloride and so AGCL Silver Chloride and Tiki versus Exile and AJC. Our players, well, I'm excited to see what we have here. Divergence is not a map I'm familiar with. I've cast a lot of 2v2, but the map pools I generally cast on don't pull from the normal ladder maps. They pull from a bunch of old ladder maps that the organizer prefers more so. So we'll see that. All right. We have a countdown once again. It will be Divergence. It's going to be PT versus PP. And that's going to be something interesting. Of course, Protoss Terran is arguably the strongest 2v2. Let me back a little. Why is my trim? There we go. Must have moved my webcam on accident. Skytoss mech is perhaps the strongest composition that we deal with when we're talking about a 2v2 matchups. But you know, with that being said, we'll talk about that in a second. Our players, they've loaded in to this third map on Divergence. And here we are, spawning the upper left in the blue, representing RIT. He's AJC. And his partner in the green, also for our RIT, obviously, because he's his partner. And he's even rocking the clan tag this time in the green. He's Exile. And on the other... Wow. Apparently it's 2-0 because yeah. Cannot do that. Anyway, it's fine. And on the bottom right side of the map, in the purple, representing UC Davis, it's Tiki. And his partner in the orange, he's Silver Chloride, it's AGCL. Yep, apparently I just managed to forget who won game number 1 as I casted it, which is incredibly skillful and incredibly well, I don't even know. As we do have what looks like a cannon rush. Well, okay, never mind. That's gate. Yeah, we're gonna see it. We're gonna see a delayed cannon rush coming here from our Silver Chloride player, a representative of RIT. At the very least, he's gonna try. And actually, has the cannon been scouted? It is not. So we have Silver Chloride. He has pulled all of his probes, literally all of his probes, to try to kill this probe off. And I mean, sure, you can do it, but that is just about never worth it. Now this may be something where it's like, okay, I know I've scouted, I know Silver Chloride is, or I know I know Silver Chloride. Not Silver. I know AJC is gonna want a cannon rush. AJC, AGCL. I can talk. It's fine. I know AJC is gonna want a cannon rush or do something like that. But actually, no, he did cancel that. He did cancel the forge anyways, as he saw he wasn't gonna be able to get any cannons down. So that's okay. As now we do have Tiki. He's gonna go for the expand as his partner looks to be maybe a little bit more aggressive or maybe a little bit more defensive. One way or the other. Aggression is defense. When we look at games like this, you're able to go and make your life, and single-handedly make life difficult for your opponent team. That gives so much room for for your partner to just sit home, to back her up, to do all that. And there we do have a Stargate on the way behind this, just a massive scout of just about everything. All right, so these zealots from Silver Chloride, they're gonna look to see what they can go in, but of course AJC, he's got 2 stalkers, and as a bit of a hint, Marines, well. Maybe not as Marines as much, but Stalkers, Marines, they can infinitely kite. They can infinitely kite Zealots. So not all the best thing. I think we have 2 more probes from AGCL going out here. Let's see, what's the plan? Okay, this is just a scouting one, and this is also just a scouting one. It's really not going to see a whole lot. It's just going to see that there is a natural. Did you even see that the base went down actually? Okay, so it did. No, so Oracle on the way here as a Dark Shrine comes in from Tiki as well. So we got some shenanigans on the way. So we're going to have DT drops with an Oracle. And do we have any Robo on the way? We do not. So it's going to be charged. There's going to be absolutely 0 detection chance here for AJC unless he makes a Robo sooner rather than later. But looks like he's skipping that for the moment to try to make sure that he's just able to do what he wants. And now the Stalker will go in, will go out, and the Oracle's going to find that. I really would prefer not revealing the Oracle, to be totally honest. I think you're better off just moving across the map and trying to get something done. But that being said, it's going to be okay. All right, so now what do we have here? We do have only 1 command center for Exile as well. Of course, he lifted the second command center to take his natural before he took the orbital, which means, of course, there is there's one scan on the map right now. Hopefully he's holding this for his sake. If not, well, he's gonna be in for a world of hurt as we do now. Where's this warp prism? There we go. The warp prism's gonna move in. That's one Dark Templar inside. So this is not gonna be all that committed. It can rapidly become very committed though. Now DT is gonna be dropped inside of the mineral line here of our blue Protoss player, and there's no detection. There's just no detection. So you're doing what you can, but do we have a scan? We don't have a scan for another 20 seconds, so the body block attempt is there. I would really like to see him just target probes down, to be totally honest. The DT needs to target probes. But no, he's just going to keep killing stalkers. You know, that's not the end of the world. There we go. Now the probe target is a thing. Actually, really great job here. Great job here, hold positioning. And AJ or Tiki really not microing for the moment. Looks to be Oracle did go down, but now we have another Dark Templar is going to find its way on in, and this tank's going to go down. So these DTs are just doing so much damage. Sure, there's going to be one scan. But the Warp Prism's just going to go in now, and the only scan has been used. Okay, so the DT, not going to get the tank, but well, it's going to get everything else. As we're just waiting for detection here, more and more army, more and more, just more about everything here. As we just have one Dark Templar in every base. And sure, you know, are we losing tons and tons of probes? Yes, we are. But we're also losing army. And what that means is that even if they're able to defend this for the moment, these two Dark Templars are just single-handedly winning the game. Green's not allowed to mine. He's losing so many workers. How many workers do we have? Yeah, 20 probes, 11 SCVs versus 55 workers. 47 for orange. Carriers are, well, one carrier is done. More and more on the way. 5 gates are on the way here too. And yeah, even if they're able to stabilize at this point, they're able to kill off all of these Dark Templar, which they will eventually be able to do. There is, unfortunately, blue-green is in no position to deal with carriers. They're in no position to deal with a bunch of gateways, a bunch of Blink Stalkers with +1. They're really in no position to deal with anything at all. As now, Silver Chloride, Tiki, they're sitting here at about a combined 150. Yeah, sure. I will give him a combined 150 supply. AGC Exile sitting at combined half that. Exile sitting on 25 supply. Exile is not having a good time. 5 total workers, 7 total workers in the game, pretty much. Just really not able to mine. I would like to see him just take everything off gas for the moment. Go back into minerals so we can build more workers. But that's a heads-up play that you do not always see. But now we have carriers done, more void rays on the way. There we go. More and more Stargates on the way as well. And now we have the gold getting ready to get taken here. Carrier's void ray is just going to target that all down. And well, +1 sky weapon is just about done. This is going to be an incredible economy here for our orange Protoss player, for our purple Protoss player as well. So of course you can share. Now DT doing good work once again. Do we have any detection here? We don't, but now there it is. And this Warp Prism, these single Dark Templars have done, okay, 5 Dark Templars for what? That is 40 total, 50 total, just about 50 workers. Yeah, that is absolutely a worthwhile play there. Now the gold has been beat down, the gold will be taken, and now AGC's just going to explode from an economic perspective. And he's going for some Dark Templar of his own. He says, ah, yes, my partner did tremendous work here. My partner got so much work done with the Shadowy Boys. Maybe I should do the same, and I cannot say I blame him. Although, I'm not even sure he needs to spend gas on it as, well, look, I mean, he's just getting this massive Skytoss fleet. And we talked about how, you know, Skytoss mech is an incredibly powerful composition that only really works when you get there. Okay, now this DT is not going to get a whole lot. Actually, did the Warp Prism go down? The Warp Prism did go down. So this was not nearly as effective as previously, but still, doesn't really matter. As we sit here, our UCD team sitting here at about 230 total supply to the 100 something. Not a great situation though. We have Blink Stalker Disruptor with a significant smattering of carriers getting ready to move across the map. Oh, this map's kind of like Blackpink with the doodads right there that make it hard to move through. Now, interestingly enough, we see Tiki on the map. Silver Chloride not ready as of yet, but now we do have him getting ready to move out onto the map here. And that's 5 carriers with a mass of Blink Stalker Disruptor. And, well, let me tell you, Marines are decent if they can stim on top of things and kill things off, but when their disruptors forcing you to split, when you're splitting, you're not doing damage. And to be totally honest here, I gotta feel like our purple player by himself can win this fight. As now we do have the disruptor shot. The first one's not really gonna land on them. The second one's gonna go in. It will land decently. Starcraft are gonna do what they can to get on top of these carriers. One will go down, but there we have it. The GG UCD is gonna take it 3-0. All right then. Unfortunately, we hyped this up as some massive battle of the Titans. I was hoping we can get 5 games. We did not. But that being said, UCD, they are your victors. They find themselves at the top of the table. All right, so they're sitting here at the top of the table. We're going to do what we can to bring both the captains of both teams on in for an interview. We're going to go to a quick break while we get that one set up. And in the meantime, enjoy the tunes. We will be right back. And we're back. The countdown was a lie. With me, I have the not Aleph not. That is in fact a lie. I have Tiki, and he is the acting captain for the day of our victorious UCD team. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, that one was a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah, I apologize. Halfway through the cast, I'm like, it's 1-1. We're fine, because I, for some reason, had forgotten that you had won map 1. For some reason, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it happens.
Yeah. Map 1, by the way, that was probably the game of the day. That was some crazy base trade PvP action. Pretty cool to see.
Yeah, that was so AJC and I have actually played in like the individual tournament that CEA put on maybe a few months ago, maybe a year ago by now. I'm not exactly sure when that happened. So like after that, we became kind of practice partners for a bit. And like the games were generally pretty close because I would say we're pretty evenly matched in skill. And then but that one kind of took the cake. Like I was pretty nervous about that at a lot of different points in that game. Like I mean, he got some great disruptor hits off on me, and I was just like, oh man, I kind of gotta like win the positional battle at this point. And like try not to make too many mistakes. But yeah, that one was crazy. It was a lot of fun, but it was crazy and stressful.
Yeah, I'm sure. But hey, it put your team in an excellent position to take the map or take the week 3-0, which pretty much or puts you all in a pretty strong position to secure one of the 5 seeds going on into the playoffs. You got to be a good position to be in. So as we get ready to move on in the playoff the next couple weeks, where do you all see yourself here at UCD? I mean, you're 3-0 in Challenger. You did not qualify for the placement stage, but again, you're still most likely going to qualify for playoffs. Is this is it a top 4 team, do you think? Or are you all going to win the entire thing? Where do you see yourselves as this all ends up?
I think there's a lot of really, really good teams in the CEA. and a lot of really good players on those teams. Like for example, like UCSD has Vindicta, who's just insanely scary to play against. Like UCSD has like a really good backup crew as well. But like that team is super strong, and there are a couple other teams like that. So I think it's possible that UCD can contend, but I don't know if we're gonna win it all. That would be a tall order, but I mean, I think that if we stick together, prepare some sniper builds, and I don't know how well known it is in this league, but we actually do have Suppy on our roster.
Oh,
Um, although he is pretty out of practice and usually can't play on Saturdays when CEA is. But like if we can get him going, then I think we can definitely be a top team. Definitely be a top team if we can get him. And if not, we can I think we've had some success preparing builds and have at the very least having close games where we're the underdogs. So I'm feeling pretty good about us, and I don't know. I kind of love our team. I love our team's chemistry. Um, we got a lot going for us for sure. But on paper, I think there are definitely other teams that are better.
yeah, we've absolutely seen the power of sniper builds. We saw University of Chicago take out UCSD a couple weeks ago because hey, it takes more than one good player to
Yeah.
win in this format. So definitely an opportunity there. And you talked about preparation a little bit. Of course, without giving away your strats, giving too much away here. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about what preparation and what practice for the UCD team looks like. How does that work?
Um, so generally speaking, like what UCD does is we have a Discord. Was formerly in person before the pandemic, but we have a Discord meetup every Thursday night for like anybody to come hang out and play StarCraft. And then what we've been doing is using a lot of that time to kind of talk out some builds, do some research on our opponents, and I should say like this is honestly mostly Nigel, the actual captain of the team. He does a lot of research on the opponents. Like we do some map planning, and then we try to like play the matchup. If we're kind of disfavored, then we'll try to come up with some kind of build um, that might play against what the other team's guy has been doing. So I don't know. I mean, like long story short, I think we basically just like put a lot of thought into maximizing our chances of winning with strategy, and then just try to get people to execute on that.
Yeah, fair enough. So that's pretty cool that you have that level of infrastructure. I know back when I was in college, I tried to start a team, and even getting people to show up for a match was no small feat. So yeah, to
Yeah,
talk
for
about
sure.
talking about your school a little bit. For those of us that really don't know a lot about UC Davis, what's one random fact about your school? Something cool that maybe people don't know about.
Um, well, staying gaming related. They recently opened a PC cafe on campus, which like I think is amazing. It's got like 28 super high-end computers, and students can play for like a pretty reasonable rate there. And I think it's been kind of a huge draw, honestly, for a lot of people who are gamers who are applying to college. So
That's
I don't
pretty
know,
cool. Yeah.
like that's what that's one thing I super like about the school.
We don't care about the coursework. We got a PC bong. It's fine.
I mean, yeah, yeah, you know.
Yeah. Um. Well, as we kind of wrap things up here, any shout outs, anyone that particularly really helped this week, or any shout outs to the team in general? But any shout out, I don't know. Anyone that needs that anyone or anything that deserves to be recognized as we conclude this interview.
Yeah, I want to just shout out my team members. All of us are great. All of y'all are great. And I want to shout out RIT as well. Um, they put on a great show. It was a great match. Played one of the best, craziest games of my life, personally. in this. So shout outs to AJC as well. And yeah, shout outs to CEA.
Yep, absolutely. And thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. Best of luck as we move, as your team moves on into the playoffs. Hopefully we'll have the opportunity to cast y'all again. Best of luck, and stay safe.
Yeah, thank you. You too.
All right, so we're gonna go and we're gonna try to see whether we can find AJC, where we can find the RIT captain or interview. But if not, that's gonna kind of do it for the day. We should be able to find it though, so it should be all good there. We will be right back. Whatever the case. All right, so it looks like we were not able to find the captain of RIT. That's fine. They are, of course, college students, and that means that homework has to be done. All these other things that, well, that occupy a college student's time, other than just sitting here talking to me about how the games went. That being said, that's going to do it for us for this week. Congratulations to UCD, taking it 3-0, really cementing themselves as a playoff contending team, making it rather difficult for them to be, make it almost certain that they're going to be at that number 5 seed as they move on into the playoffs. Also, congratulations to Shopify. That was a great matchup earlier on in the day. If you missed it, it is, of course, available in the stream VOD, in the previous videos here on this channel. So with that, without much further ado, I have been BeoMulf. If you like what I do, follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/BeoMulf_SC2. As I always tweet when I go live, and I go live on multiple different platforms. I stream at twitch.tv/BeoMulf, Trovo.live/BeoMulf. On occasion, I do stuff for Alpha X. It's all over the place. But I always tweet where I'm going to be. So if you like what I do, feel free to go check me out there. With that being said, one final shout out to the CEA for having me on week after week, for putting on this incredible tournament, and really for doing everything they do for the amateur scene. They're doing great work, and they absolutely deserve all of our love and support. So with that being said, I've been BeoMulf. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend, everyone. Stay safe out there.